If I was starting a studio tomorrow, what 10 things could I not shoot without? Let's find out. Now, as a professional photographer for over 20 years, I've come to realize that there are some things I simply cannot shoot without. And that's whether I'm shooting dogs, babies, families, models, pets, commercial, whatever. There are some things in studio that I always have on me because I know that I'm going to use them daily, and they aren't the things that you might expect. Let's run through the list, and hopefully there'll be something of benefit to you and your photography journey. And if so, check out below into the description because links to all of the items can be found there. Okay, number one is my lens. Now, I'm not gonna get too hung up on gear in this workshop in terms of bodies and in terms of lenses and in terms of things that have a high value. All I would say is, if you've got some money to spend on gear, invest it in a lens and find the best lens for you. Personally, for me, throughout all of these years, I found the 24-105 lens, the perfect lens for portraits for me, and also for shooting at events when I can get reasonably close. And that's events like weddings or events like certain types of sports photography when I can get close. It gives me the variety of focal length, 24 wide, quite a wide angle there, all the way up to 105, so I can get reasonably close from a distance and still get head and shoulder shots. In studio, I find it so robust. I can do everything from full-length portraits right up to really, really close and detailed close-up portraits of people's faces. So I would say the 24-105 is my favorite go-to lens. Invest in the lens because the lens over time is going to hold its value. So if you do decide to upgrade or to sell on or to change brand or to do whatever, you're still going to retain a lot of the value when you resell the lens. The bodies, on the other hand, tend to depreciate quite quickly over time as camera companies put out new bodies every year and get you to buy into all of the autofocus points and abilities to deal with low-level light and all those kinds of gimmicks. But the lenses, the glass, the physical material, that doesn't really change, and that still holds its value today. Item number two is a UV filter, and I can talk about this because this happened to me last week. Last week I was shooting at an event and the camera that I was shooting with got kicked out of my hand. Now normally, if I wasn't using one of these, that would have meant that the lens itself got damaged, which is a huge repair bill, probably the same as a replacement bill. You're probably looking at a replacement lens. As it was, all that got cracked was the lens filter on the front. The UV filter just eliminates UV light, which isn't visible to the human eye, so it's not going to change the color or tonality of your portraits. And it's much cheaper to replace a filter than it is to replace a whole lens. So I would always advise people, get yourself a UV filter, put it on the front of your lens, protect your lens, and then if you do get into trouble, that's the thing you need to replace, not the whole lens. You can find out the size of the filter that you need just by looking at the front of your lens. Somewhere on there will be a number with the letters mm after it, standing for millimeter. That's the diameter of your lens. In this case, my 24-105 has a 77 mm mark on there, so I know that I need to buy a 77 millimeter UV filter for this lens. Item number three is my 5-in-1 reflector. I talk about it all the time on my lighting tutorials. I bought this one, this physical one here. I bought this one over 15 years ago. It has a white side, it has a gold side, and inside when you open up the zip, it has a black side there and a silver side on the inside here. What that means is that you have 4 different sides to reflect light back into a portrait. You also have a translucent disc in the middle which allows light to pass through the disc but softens it as it goes through, and I showed you in one of our most recent videos how that can be used to great effect. This is the cheapest secondary light source that you can buy, bouncing light back into portraits and also bringing an analog effect like this into your shoot adds a little bit of craftsmanship to what you're doing. It elevates what you're doing. You can involve your clients by getting them to hold this themselves. You can put it up on a bracket. It's a really, really useful piece of kit to add a little bit of color, add a little bit of reflection, and just add a little bit of quality to what you're doing. You can pick these up for around about £15. I take it in my kit bag all the time because super easy just to fold down to something really, really small like that, pop it in your bag, and it's well, 15 years old. It's really, really durable. It's lasted me. I wouldn't be without it. This is a must-have item for every studio. Item number 4 is Gorilla Tape. The stronger, the better. Don't go buying cheap Gorilla Tape because it is a false economy. You need the stickiest tape going. I've used Gorilla Tape like throughout almost every session. I can't think of a thing that I don't need to stick down. It is your emergency fail-safe. When I'm at events, quite often you'll get requests for like, oh Christ, I need a bit of tape or something just to hold this down. And if you've got this in your bag, you can be the hero, you can save the day. It's just really, really resourceful. It's good for holding up backdrops. It's good for marking areas on the floor where you want your models to stand. And if you're doing a shoot where you've got a high turnover of people, it's a good way just to mark a little X on the floor and just tell people to stand there. I attach gels to my lights with this sort of thing. It's just so resourceful and so useful. There are so many situations that I found myself needing a bit of really, really sticky tape to save the day. This on occasion has been an absolute lifesaver. I would always have a roll of this in my studio. Item number 5 is this. It's a tiny little squeaker. Now, it's difficult to explain exactly why this is so good. If you're doing pet portraits, you get about 4 or 5 squeaks out of a squeaker to get a dog's attention. And it's a good way if you want a pet portrait where the dog has got the tongue in the mouth rather than flapping around, panting. If you want those ears pristine and pointed up, a little squeak of this, and you'll notice that they get eye contact straight with you from where that squeak came from. The tongue goes straight into the mouth, the ears go up, they look alert, and most importantly, as I just mentioned, you get that eye contact straight down the middle of the lens. Hopefully we can show you some examples of that where I did this on a recent video tutorial. These little squeakers, they cost pennies, you know, individually. They cost a couple of pounds for a massive bag of them. And I've just used them more often than not over the last 20 years to engage dogs and to play a few games with the kids, just to have a little bit of fun, get some laughs and get some good reactions for my portrait photography. Item number 6 is this. It's an unopened memory card. This is brand new, 64 gig. It's a black SanDisk. And what I do with this is I never open it. It's still new in the packet. This particular one has been in my camera bag for around about the last 2 years. I know it's going to fit most of my cameras as an SD card. You would need to obviously get a card that fits your camera. And the reason why it's still in the packaging and still unopened is because I take it with me everywhere I go. It goes in my camera bag that goes on every shoot with me. So that if the worst comes to the worst and for whatever reason I've forgotten to put memory cards in my camera, or I've forgotten to take my memory card pack, which I have upstairs, which is full of all my memory cards, and it can happen, and it has happened. I've got an absolute fail-safe in my camera bag, because there's 2 things you can't shoot with really if you've got your camera ready. If you haven't packed your batteries, you're stuffed. And if you haven't got a memory card, you're stuffed as well. In the past, other photographers I've shot jobs with have turned up without memory cards. And this thing here, for less than 20 quid, is invaluable to that photographer who doesn't have a memory card to shoot from. And for you to be able to say, here, have this, means you're an absolute lifesaver for that other photographer. It means you've probably made a friend and a colleague for life, which is really, really important. Always keep this in my bag as my absolute fail-safe, because my mind is wired such that it always goes to the worst case scenario. Number 7 is my GoPro. I'm shooting on the Hero 10 Black, which I really like at the moment, because it's got really, really cool image stabilization, and it's got a little gimmick at the top here where it will fit onto the top of my DSLR so I can do point of view videos. But more importantly than that is this Gorilla Pod here, which attaches in most situations to something. It has a twisty grip at the top so I can shoot in portrait or in landscape. And this means that if I haven't got someone to hold a camera to do BTS for me, because somehow we're creating more BTS than actual work these days, but this is a great way to just put this behind you, put this on a post or a stairwell or something around you, or just stand it as a regular tripod and just shoot BTS as you're shooting. It's a good thing to have in your bag. It folds up really small and I really like it. Number 8 is my full frame sensor cleaning kit. It's got swabs in there and it's got the fluid in there that's going to clean off any dust from your camera bag. I know what you're thinking, that's okay, I'll just sort it out in Photoshop later. Well, yeah, you can sort it out in Photoshop later, but it is really frustrating when you get back to the studio. You've shot a whole series of portraits at an event and you realize that there's something on the back of your camera, on the sensor, a dust spot, a hair, something like that, and you have to go through the whole lot and administer Photoshop work to them. I just like the professionalism of it. I like the fact that I can get into my gear and I can have a look at my gear and I can know that my gear is super clean. So we give this a swab, maybe once every few weeks, just to make sure we're completely clean. We can do test shots where we shoot on a grey backdrop, drop the levels in just to see where there are dust spots on our camera. And I just like the professionalism of it and just elevating the game slightly with the lens cleaning kit. Number 9 is clips and clamps. I use clips and clamps of all different shapes and sizes. Look, there are big ones and there are little ones for all different sorts of things. When you're hanging up backdrops in the studio and you're doing different things and you've got different items going here and there and you're trying to create shapes with cloth and all that kind of stuff, it's important to have these to hand. I've got hundreds of these around the studio, always close by, always have more than I need, because I know I'm going to lose a few along the way, or there are going to be some in various bags around the place. So I like to have these, and I like to have them close to hand so that we can access them easily. I also have these little clips in here. These are good for sandbags. I have loads of sandbags in the studio, but these are good for clipping to tripods, clipping sandbags to tripods especially, so that we can maintain a safe working environment for everyone here, so that all of the heavy lights, all of the heavy soft boxes are all safely placed. Nothing's going to get knocked over and nobody's going to get hurt in the studio. And then lastly, this. I'm not much of a gimmick photographer, but at the photography show last year in London, I went and bought one of these. It's a portal filter. I've played around with filters before, played around with a kaleidoscope filter. I didn't really get on with it, but this one here, this portal filter, I tested it on a portrait shoot recently and the results were frankly amazing. So then I took it to a show and I tried it out there and the results were really, really good there. I couldn't believe how cost effective this one was. I picked this up for around about 25, 30 pounds. And the results I'm getting out of it in camera are staggering. In a video coming up very soon, I'm gonna take this portal filter onto a studio shoot with lots of color, and I'm gonna show you the full effect of what we can get out of this, and I can't wait to share those results with you. I'm not much of a gimmick photographer. I prefer to try and work on personalities and character and connection with my clients, but sometimes you just need that gimmick just to push your creativity in a slightly different way. And as I said, I tried the kaleidoscope filter, didn't really get on with it, so I just binned it, but at least I tried it. And if I hadn't tried it, I wouldn't know. This one, I tried it and I really like it, and I think there's real potential in this one for me creating stuff going forward. And we'll see what we create in a video coming up soon. So those are the 10 items. For a bonus 11th item, just always carry a lens cloth with you. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a comment below. Maybe tell me what your must-have item is in your studio and in your kit bag. I'd love to know. Links to all the items are in the description below. Have a look at our video library and all of our studio sessions. Every Monday, a new video talking to you about studio photography, and in particular, how to master flash in studio photography. Like and subscribe, say nice things, tell other photographers about it, and as ever, all the very best.